Like, I'm gonna put a Photoshop framer in that as well.
And I think we're up.
No.
Well, I guess we're live.
How did that happen?
What?
How did
Corey's
that happen?
like, I'm gonna go get a drink.
He's like, I'm gonna go get a drink. I'll be back in 5 minutes.
And he was back in like 30 seconds.
I didn't say 5 minutes.
Smiling.
Well, I was still fucking around.
I'm sorry. If you want, we can go back to the other scene and we'll just wait another 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would mind. Oh yes, that is true. First order of business. Today is Zeus Omega's birthday. Captain Awesome.
It's Gallatin's birthday too.
Is it?
Yes.
For real?
Wow.
Mhm.
Yes.
How can the Invisible Man have a birthday?
I don't know. That's what it says on the forums. That must be what it is.
Happy birthday, Cor.
That's what I wrote down for him. So.
Oh,
It's Core's second birthday.
we just picked a random day for Gallatin's birthday. So yes, happy birthday, Zeus.
Happy birthday, man.
It's a very exciting day. This is a special episode of the Imperium Insider, dedicated to Zeus, Omega Captain Awesome. So after the show, I'm sure he's gonna be, oh, that was so awesome! Ostia's epic, awesome, whatever the hell he says. Awesome, epic, super duper, something or the other. You camera shy? Yeah,
Not
you.
me?
Yeah.
I was zoning out hard.
See it
I
in your
was
face.
just reading all the chat.
Oh, there's chat.
There's a little bit of chat.
I see. Hold on, I gotta get my Derek Smart pose on.
Yeah.
I think you need to rub
I'm
your
a dick.
nipples a little
Yeah.
more there.
Yeah.
So as you can notice, I think Jintao's having a bit of a relationship problem. He's sitting in a hotel.
I got kicked the fuck out.
He got kicked the
Citizen
fuck out.
ruined my life.
So yeah, Core is actually hosting the stream today, which makes tons of sense because Jintao's... Where are you?
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Is the pizza good there?
I don't know. I haven't ate anywhere besides the hotel.
Well, it can't be that bad. It's across from New York City. Although I'm sure New Yorkers would disagree.
I don't think they like each other too much.
No.
No, that's funny. And we were talking in TeamSpeak earlier, and I think one of the newer members is Duke Barr. And
Yeah.
he's from New Jersey. So when I started smack talking New Jersey, he just lit the fuck up. Went crazy. New Jersey's awesome, as long as you don't go by the coast. Or Newark or something. He said Newark sucked. So I won't go there. But anyways, yeah, I'm here in a hotel for almost the entire month of August. How exciting is that?
Yeah, that's awful, dude. That's awful.
That's fucking horrible, man.
But that's okay.
It is what it is.
At least you're here. I mean, it could be way worse. We'd be doing this without Jintao, which is like pretty much pointless.
We
Just
may as
get all
well.
the answers.
We may as well sit on TeamSpeak in a channel and just talk, if that was the case.
I know, because this is all my fault. I forced everybody to do this.
Yeah, you're getting out of this one. You're like, yes, another season of the Imperium Insider.
Yes, except for this
Anyway.
one's going to be documented better.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, we apologize. I should say Core apologizes because it's completely Core's fault.
Hey, I ticked the fucking box. It said it was going to do it. It didn't fucking do it. I changed no settings, tried to test stream yesterday, and it worked. So it was fucking Twitch. I don't know why they're being dicks.
Well, you didn't really miss anything if you missed the last episode. I think we just talked about what this is going to be. And who knows? It's 4 weeks later, and all that's probably out the window by now. So, we'll see what happens here. But the point of the Imperium Insider is talk about Star Citizen and news related to Star Citizen or around Star Citizen community and how that affects Imperium or how it relates to Imperium. And the big topic is 3.0 released to Evocati. Was it last night or was it Thursday?
Thursday, I think.
I think it was Thursday.
And I heard they already patched it once.
Past
Yeah,
it Friday.
apparently the patcher is working very, very well.
Is
One of the
anything
things
else
they're
working?
supposed to be testing right now.
I wonder if anything else is working. I heard some interesting commentary on the state of 3.0.
Well, I think people need to remember that 3.0 is not what it was supposed to be in terms of what they want to fit inside. Let me put the sun's starting to shine. They didn't get a lot of the networking issues resolved, right, in time for this patch, so I think everyone needs to just be expectant of basically the same experience that they're getting in 2.6 networking-wise.
Yeah, I think some of the reports are that some servers are running at like a decent amount of FPS with full people in it, and other ones are running at like 5. So it's a little mixed about what the performance actually is that you're getting.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's really not that much different from when they dropped 2.6.
No, very likely not. But that had a lot of updates before it runs as stable as it does, and unfortunately, I'd like to say that sometimes it still doesn't run that stable.
It's a true story. It's unfortunate. We need to get in there and tweak it and fix it. We could send Kron Rostaban over there to give him a hand.
Mog says we sound super enthusiastic right now.
I'm in a freaking hotel in New Jersey. You heard me on I did the stinking Star Citizen Base Roundtable show on the base radio from my Jeep driving through the mountains of Pennsylvania on my phone.
That's terrible.
It was crazy. It really sounded like holy horse shit. It was pretty bad.
I just don't get how it's like a month. That's wild.
Since the last time we did this?
No, that you have to be put held
Oh,
up in
yeah.
that in that place.
Well, it is what it is. Somebody's
Okay.
got to make the money.
So I had a few thoughts about the 3.0 news, and that's something that we kind of probably touched on a million other times before, but I guess it's going to be more relevant with 3.0 being available to everybody shortly, hopefully, and that is what that means for Imperium events in terms of like playing together, and then in terms for Imperium training, which is two, in my opinion, really important things for our community, right? Having people that are getting better and better at the game, and then also just having fun together. And so
What's on his face?
with hopefully they can improve networking a little bit more than it is right now, but I don't think a lot will change in terms of game day aside from content, like tons of content. That's great. We'll probably end up playing in the universe a lot more than we have been just because of the content that's available, but we really do need the network side to work somewhat well, because we can't. I mean, there's a limit to servers right now per person, which is the main issue. But outside of that main issue is also getting everyone into the same server. So if we can get back to there, that'd be great. We can start doing custom scenarios again with, decently sized teams for like Op 4 and Blue 4. So that would be kind of nice. I actually haven't really thought too much about what sort of custom scenarios we could do now with the possibility of jumping between planets and stuff, but that'll be kind of...
Well, it's also going to be important to find out what the limitations are on those servers. Right now, there's a limit on the amount of servers, of course, but depending on how many people we could bring in, we could even just, have 2 full teams going at it and having fun rather than setting up an entire scenario as a more on-the-fly thing. But for setting up scenarios, the same thing applies. We need to know those limitations before we can really start planning for it. But there are some really good scenarios that we can come up with.
Oh, absolutely. But the determination won't be able to be made until you can actually get in there and see what is going on, how their newly updated matchmaking system works. They apparently did some sort of update to a party system. I was reading in some patch notes. I don't necessarily know how that's gonna play out. We'll have to see. Hopefully it isn't limited to 4
4.
people or yeah, exactly. Because that's part of the thing that holds that whole thing up. The game days when we could get 16, 20 people in a single server, they were freaking ridiculously epic. And then that whole thing fell apart, so.
Yeah, it was shortly after the, oh man. I don't know. It seemed like such a long time ago because it was a long time between patches. But eventually, when they stopped allowing parties to be formed through the elevator, that's basically when everything went to hell in terms of getting that many people into a group, into a server. I mean, but hopefully it gets a little bit better. If not, at least we can all jump into the universe in separate servers and explore, and it'll be fun. That'll be the highlight, I think, for everybody.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I am really excited about 3.0, but the fact that it's still in Evocati means I can't do anything with it. And all I can do is listen to the information from the people that are currently in it. And, I ask them about my concerns. I don't ask them about what's gonna be awesome, like how's the weather and the weather effects. I'm asking about things that I care more about, like performance and frame rate and networking issues. Because those are the things I'm going to be struggling with when I'm actually playing the game.
So, hopefully, CIG takes care of a few of the main networking problems and can get a bunch of people in the servers. Because the 1-year anniversary for Imperium Game Days is coming up. And we kind of wanted to hold it on a date that was, ideal.
That we have 3.0, yeah.
3.0 would be ideal. Technically, the 1-year anniversary of Imperium Game Days is October 21st. Actually, the 22nd, but that's on a Sunday. So, our game day coming up is scheduled for October the 28th. And
which for those of us keeping score is right after CitizenCon, the day after.
Yeah, like the day after CitizenCon. So obviously we'll have a big party in TS watching the CitizenCon stream, and then the day following is game day. Hopefully, we at least have initial PTU access. At least a bunch of people should be playing then, and we'll make sure to stream it because it'll be out of NDA, so everyone can kind of participate in the fun, but if they don't have access yet. But yeah, we want to do a big thing, but like I said, it entirely depends on 3.0 being available. If 3.0 is not available, then we'll just push it to the next game day, and we'll do a special event highlighted by we have some bigger giveaways and a couple things up our sleeves for lots of fun, and we'll put a post out about it more. Up till now, for the past few game days, you might have noticed in the posts for them that there was discussed the special event for 3.0 launch, and the plan is still to do one when it launches. If it doesn't launch, it coincide well enough with one of the original, like the scheduled game days, which is normally the second last or last Saturday in any month, so we'll see how it goes scheduling wise, but that's really up to CIG. So, but expect something fun, and we'll do our best to make it work with whatever we get from them. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's really good. Either way, I'm pretty confident that it'll be fine. Jintel's laughing.
I'm laughing at Zane's comment.
Oh, I full screen this thing.
Yeah, your microphone keeps going up and down in volume and core, but core's always loud, Zane. So you just kind of take that for what it is.
I have core turned down by like 10 decibels for that.
Yeah, but that's not in this case. I'm not, since my microphone is now constantly broadcasting and is extremely sensitive. I honestly don't know what level I'm supposed to be putting it at, but I turned it down by about 40%. Let me know if it's now better than before. I do know that when I talk, I triggers Juntao fucking speech.
Yeah, voice activation.
Yeah, voice activation.
Oh yeah. That's good though. That means you better listen when the man is speaking. That's what I said.
But that doesn't make any sense because I'm listening to myself.
Well, I wasn't directly speaking to you, but okay.
Oh, right. So noise gate, sure. I'll work on that, but I didn't have the opportunity to buy one this quick in the day that I was. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Don't worry. Let's go.
No, because I threw all this shit on him at the last second, and he was like, "Are we gonna do this?" And I'm like, "We are, but you're gonna have to host it because I'm in a fucking hotel on Wi-Fi. So sorry, figure it out." So we figured it out last night as best as we could, and here we are today, and it is what it is.
Hey, it looks great. Yeah,
It looks great. Fantastic. So what's on everybody's mind today? Besides 3.0 and Evocati, because that's a far reach out of your hands at this point.
Well, there's one thing that I did check my mail about is that they were sending out invites to people who have black card concierge things. That if you are in the vicinity of a studio, that you can simply go to one of their pop-up parties with your black card and spend a couple hours there, which I thought was nice.
Yeah, but it's on a Tuesday.
I know.
I mean, of all days, on a Tuesday. But you just
Still
go,
nice.
You go meet them and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's not like you're going to sit around and drink a case of beer with them or anything, so... Well, some people might. Ostia would. He'd go to work hungover.
Yeah, probably.
Then he ends up with spots on his face.
That's that
Yeah.
holes in those damn blinds.
It's these damn blinds, man. It's fine.
It's good. It looks like aliens are landing on your face. It's cool.
On a list of things I'd let aliens do to my face, that's... Well, they're all pretty much on the same scale. I don't know.
So let's
Go ahead.
let's hit on this really quick because recently the Lakota held the like the most recent version of the Fleet Q&A. I don't know if that was version 3.0 or 2.7 or I'm not exactly sure. But why don't you go ahead and give some details on what happened there, Lakota? I was not able to attend that Q&A. I was sadly disappointed.
It went well. It exceeded my expectations, to be completely honest. And the version number is actually version better than all the previous, is what I like to say. So, but yeah, it went well. We had the post go up before the Q&A had even started, like a week in advance. I want to put it up like a month in advance next time. A bunch of people asked questions. We got everyone to answer the questions. Had a bunch of really good questions during the meeting. And that thread is updated now with all the questions and answers from the meeting. And yeah, I just went good. Plan to do another one in late December. So that should be fun.
And this is going to be a quarterly.
Yeah, it's going
You
to be...
decided on a quarterly?
Yeah, it's going to be every 3 months, just so that we have enough time to get some new content to be able to talk about. Because if we do it every month, we're going to end up repeating the same questions over and over again.
There was a time when we did that, and then we stopped that. For that exact reason.
Yeah, well, there was a time, and there is a time where the updates were kind of spread out a lot further than what they are going to be going forward to, with especially with 3.0 right on the doorstep. The ability for the fleet to start doing some, hopefully, academy work. Maybe exploration can start developing their guidelines on how they want to handle. What are you laughing about?
We want full-scale, mapped-out planets. And I want to know exactly what outpost is exactly where on every planet and
Yep.
moon and asteroid.
3.0 is going to give us so much more theory crafting opportunities. It's going to be great. I can't wait until the next Q&A.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty fun, actually. That's another part. 3.0 is going to bring... Well, the plan is, if you understand what Imperium's, like, functioning structure is to train everyone, the problem up to now is that things change so much that it doesn't make sense to create very massive scale programs, but to get the system kind of working, and it's hard to motivate people to come up with some training based on something that will change in on the next patch or in the next major revision or whatever. With 3.0 brings a whole bunch of new stuff that seems to be things that they're going to keep in the game. We'll see how it goes, but it grants everyone an opportunity to go in there, explore how things work, and then as a collaborative process, help each other and help people from the academy and the primary division of specialists come up with training programs that can effectively help newer members or even older members who don't really know about Star System that much. So there are a lot of opportunities to get some work done with a new patch.
Just gonna let it be quiet.
No,
Just gotta
nobody
see how
has
long
thoughts
we'll
on
be
that.
quiet.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Sorry, I was looking into the robot sound issue. I have my bit rate too high, and it's actually interfering with TeamSpeak because of it. And
We all sound like robots?
yeah, well, those two more than us.
Huh.
Wow, you and Ostia more than me and Jintao. Weird.
Jintao's fine. Everyone else is fucked. That's basically it.
That's I'm on this high quality Wi-Fi. That's why.
Oh, it just happened to him.
Yeah, it just happened to him too.
Okay.
Real nice.
This is a quality stream. We only provide the best in Imperium, okay?
Well, you know what you could do, Core, is you could stop broadcasting for a second and change your bit rate to a lower bit rate and reconnect.
Well, then it would be...
It'll be segmented.
Or
No,
I could
no,
just
I was-
try upping the bit rate now.
I don't think it allows you to change settings on XSplit when you're actually broadcasting.
Well, it does allow me to do this.
We'll see.
No, it's the masses that are wrong. We're fine.
Tio's funny. This training video sucks. Where are all the chicks and high pumping music?
Yeah,
We're
you won't
working
find
on
any
that.
of that in our training content.
We're working on that. I know Kill Frenzy has dedicated himself to coming up with some interesting concepts towards where these videos can start leading. So that's going to be something special to see. Maybe there's going to be animated Star Marine
something.
things. Machinima.
That's a possibility. So,
Oh, God.
yeah, that's one thing we can definitely talk about. The media team is working on a project. It's pretty simple. It's basically an instructional series. It's not a hype series or anything to get too excited over. The point of it is to in like maybe 7 or 8 3-minute videos cover all the different aspects inside Imperium and how they function, so that within maybe like 20 minutes total, someone could watch a video and roughly know how Imperium operates. And this is going to act as a learning tool for new members or for potentially people who are not from Imperium but want to interact with us, like other organizations and stuff like that. So that is kind of the goal of that series. And like Jintao was saying, there are some people from the media team, Relum, Kill Frenzy, and others who are actively working on making that a reality. Kill Frenzy is trying to animate something. I don't want to make any grandiose promises because it's just an experiment right now to see how it turns out, and then. But since Kill Frenzy is very talented, I don't want to take anything away. I'm sure it'll be great, and yeah, that's something that's on the horizon. The first video is in the works right now, so that's kind of exciting.
Does he need any help?
I don't know. I don't really know how two people animating something would work. I would guess it's probably a one-man thing, but if you do want to help with these videos, we have the voiceover guy, we have an animator, Relum is the audio / producer type guy, and then right now Belial and myself have been doing script content with Core as well, and so if you're interested in writing scripts or putting together kind of storyboards in terms of how you think the information can be presented best, just reach out to me on the forums. It's probably the best way to do it, and we'll get you involved.
Or you can probably find him in the Star Wars Battlefront beta right now.
Yeah, it's whatever.
It's whatever. It's not that
It's
good?
fine. It's fine. It's fine. There's just a lot. The beta's fine, but it's pretty much there's not much to do in the beta. So
My biggest problem with it is actually the sound in it, because 90% of the time you don't know what the fuck shot you, because you can't hear other people's footsteps.
someone named Not Ostia
I
is
like
in
that
this
name.
chat.
That name is
That's
great.
lovely.
Really?
Um,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh.
They have a question. How are Academy certifications going to work? Okay. Who wants to answer this question in like 30 seconds? If you think you can
not
do
me.
that.
I'd like to hear Core's answer to this in under 30 seconds.
So
It's
the-
a challenge.
You have to say less than 100 words for core.
What? Fuck that. 30 seconds? I can talk as fast as I fucking want. So Academy certifications are going to work in the following fashion. You're going to apply for a course, you're going to take that course, and you're going to be awarded a certificate at the end of it. The certificate is going to allow you to gain some recognition for whatever that course was. It could be any operations trainings or basically just how to man a fucking turret. Now, what courses these are going to be are something that we are still in the process of determining, but the idea is that down the line when we're talking about our mission system, the certifications are going to show whether or not you're eligible or qualify to participate in those missions. And that's why certifications are going to play a large role in how Imperium and its members will be able to organize missions going forward.
Nice. I didn't realize that you were going to talk so fast after you said, I'll talk as fast as I want. And then you just proceeded to spit things out like one of those, I don't know, those guys who run auctions.
That was actually 35 seconds core.
Ah,
so that
fuck
answer
you. I had to
didn't
pause
count.
in the middle because I had to find the right word.
And I believe we actually got questions like that during the Q&A too, and they're, I mean, I'll probably link the post in chat, but if anyone wants to know any more about, the Academy, there were a bunch of questions asked, as far as I remember.
Was there
I
any
did get it.
question asked in that Q&A that you were like, wow, that's a really good fucking question?
There are a lot like that for me, but I didn't answer them, so...
Because you were like, wow, that's a really good fucking question. I need to find the answer to that one.
Well, it was
Well,
someone
I think they all got
someone
answered, right?
that.
Someone answered
No,
them.
they did. They all got answered.
Okay.
Every single one. Even yours.
There was
got
one I
answered.
deliberately didn't answer. Did someone fucking answer that one?
No.
Okay,
I
good.
Still haven't gotten word back on clarification for that one, so...
We don't want to answer that one. We don't want to address that topic at all.
I'd like to answer the question, but...
No. That creates headaches for me.
I wrote 3 different answers. That's why I was like, fuck this. I'm not answering this fucking question again.
Just let
Well,
Juntao
they should be
answer the
clear
question.
questions. That's the problem.
These questions, they're good questions.
The question is fine. I just didn't want to give the answer as I wanted to give it. That's all. Although I don't even remember what the question is now. I just remember my feelings about the answer.
And where did you post the answer to those questions, Lakota, for those people who aren't
I'm
aware of that?
Grabbing the link right now, actually.
Great.
Let's hope that I can post it. There we go. Cool.
Oh,
You
that's-
have the power.
How are you a moderator?
Hey, man. I don't
We
know.
sorted this out last month.
Oh. That's crazy. Oh, would you like to try to re-answer that question then, Cor?
No. It's just that he
Oh,
said I
okay.
could do faster, and I can do faster.
Please don't make him prove himself.
At
No one wants to
disappointment
see
of
that.
many, he can go faster.
Wow, look at that sun. Holy crap. I'm like
Yeah, really, wow.
melting right now.
Juntao is being raptured on stream right now.
God is coming for you. Let's see if I can reach this thing.
Man, don't they put you in one of those swanky suites where you can control the blinds with the remote?
Fuck no.
That's a
Come
nice
on.
dad bod you got going on.
Did you just say he has a nice dad bod going on?
It's a quality stream. I have to keep it up, man.
As you can see, everyone, we prepared diligently for this episode of The Insider for your pleasure.
Yeah, 35, 40 minutes last night. That was a big fucking deal.
We did. We just... everything we worked on last night had absolutely nothing to do with what was going to come out of our mouths, just how it was going to show on the fucking screen. That's all.
Now, you know what I'm loving lately? If you use Instagram, this new voting thing on all the stories. Hopefully someone out there understands what I'm talking about.
No, I
but
fucking
on your
don't.
story, instead of like posting a picture or a video or whatever, you can post something and then attach like this little like 2 options that you could fill them in what you guys want. And I wish we had that on Twitch where you could let people vote. Aside from straw poll, like I know we can do it. It's very easy, but it'd be nice to know what people want to hear us talk about.
Well, if we had a decent bot, you could program it, but...
We probably could.
Bots that do that, so.
Yeah, I'm sure there are. But it'd be nice to have people suggest ideas for the Insider. Because
Make a thread.
there are things that I want to talk about that are kind of probably boring for the stream.
Oh, nice.
Streamlabs. On screen. Super easy. See, Zane, thank you for being helpful. And not condescending jerks like Core and Lakota, who told me that there's bots that can do that. Thank you for that information,
Well,
fellas.
the other thing, I mean, you could put up a post on the forums. You could run through any of the other ways you would normally get information on stuff like that, so... I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm talking about over stream.
Oh, well, do what Zane said then.
Well, we'll have to look into that.
Well, get it-
Thank you, Zane. Thank you.
Get it done, Ostia. God, it's taking so long.
This is going to be no different than anything else. This is an iterative process. And I push this, I think, more than anybody wanted me to push it, and that's why it's happening. So as time goes on, we will add all the little fancy bells and whistles, and we'll actually figure out how to do something, semi-professional. But until then, this is what you get.
What Jintao and I will do at some point in the next month is we'll sit down and we'll figure out how to make a nice fucking scene. Well, it looks nice now. That's not what I'm saying. I just mean we can do more with it. But we'll take the time to do that. Well, hopefully the other two will work on story content.
Well, hell, I ain't doing nothing for the next, 20-some days, because I'm in this freaking cage.
I need somebody to soundboard off of.
I got plenty of time.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Oh, yeah, I got plenty of time. Yeah, soon it will be high fidelity, just like Star Citizen. That's funny.
I don't... I feel like I know who that is, but I don't want to rat him out because that Twitch name is embarrassing.
Damn, really.
What?
I just want to know who not Ostia is.
It's probably you.
It's not Ostia.
I wish it was me. I'm not that bored.
To create like multiple accounts.
Well, I already have like 3, and I don't need any more.
Yeah, Ostia, take
Not
Tio's
anymore.
advice. Just talk about what you want to talk about. Fuck us all.
Lakota, you're just upsetting the people. Look at
Me?
this.
I'm upsetting the people?
Look at they're pissed off.
So people like drama though, so go ahead and stir it up. What's on your mind, Ostia?
Well, I was just thinking we could talk about a few things. Well, first of all, let me see what's going on here.
Let me tell you what I want to talk about, because
Yes.
this was a great conversation that we were having in Imperium's TeamSpeak, and some of the people in the chat right now were not present for that discussion. Was how is and what is acceptable for CIG to continue funding outside of selling game packages? And it was a pretty good conversation. Everybody made really good points, and Core shot them all down.
Sorry.
But the idea being, if this is going to be a 10 or 15 year game, how do they manage to continually fund this game without the whole pay to win or pay for content, or what was the other one? There was another one there that you guys were using a term. Pay for something.
Freemium.
Yeah, premium. Premium pay.
So there's a couple of different models, and I'm sure most gamers and most people here are already familiar with most of them. The first one is where you pay for the game and then don't do anything else. That model is disappearing very quickly. Look at Shadow of War, because that game needed loot boxes. Am I right?
Now that's a term that you guys were throwing out like hardcore.
Like
And-
loot boxes?
And I don't understand what that is because I'm not into those games.
Okay, so in Shadow of War, what happens is it's a single-player game through and through, right? You have the ability to challenge your friend's castle and whatnot, but you're not playing against him. You're playing against his AI things. But beyond that, there is no multiplayer. So the way the game works is you basically, if you've played Shadow of Mordor, you run around, there's an assist system. The gameplay is actually the highlight of the game. Story and all that was never really that high on the priority list for a game like that. But now what they've done is they're allowing you to take over castles and then put your own orcs in them. And, you move on to the next castle, you take that over and put your own orcs in it. That's kind of the idea. However, in order to get loot and better orcs, they now allow you to purchase what is considered loot boxes, and with them, you get randomized items inside. So you buy a loot box, you get random orcs and gear and that sort of stuff, and if it's not the stuff you want, you buy another loot box, and you keep buying loot boxes until you get what you need. The problem with this is, it's institutionalized gambling for digital items that you don't even fucking need. We're talking about a single-player game where if you're struggling with the game, you go to a fucking cheat site, download a trainer, and you fucking make the game work. Yet developers have now gotten the arrogance to think that their single-player content is stuff that, if it's too difficult, you just buy a couple of loot boxes and you move on. The problem is that all throughout development and all throughout the entire release of that fiasco, there have been multiple DLC issues, like monetizing one of their developers that passed away, monetizing that DLC and not even paying it out to the charity or whatever, the family that they were supposed to be doing it. But leaving that aside, they kept echoing that there was no reason for you to ever have to pay for it. It wasn't balanced toward, or it was balanced towards not having to buy loot boxes. Now, all the reviews started coming in this weekend, and most of them said, if you have to buy loot boxes, you're basically not playing at the right difficulty. Just turn it down and play without it. But then, in the fine print, it started to come out that once you've completed the game, like 60%, you've completed the storyline, the rest of the game is a 50-hour grind to get the best and orcs and whatever to get the final ending game cutscene. And that's the point where most reviewers basically went, well, we did it, but it wasn't fun. My point is, loot boxes are nothing more than a gambling system within a game. You're paying for a chance at a roll. Now, you can bring it back to Battlefront as well. They have loot boxes. Battlefield has loot boxes. You earn them, you don't have to pay for them. But at the end of the day, what loot boxes symbolize is gambling. And the fact that it is slowly being pumped into every asset of AAA gaming is a fucking crime. Because you get to the point where you're now exposing children to gambling who, take their money, they pay for gambling. And even people who... This is the whole thing about gambling, right? There's a reason why gambling is illegal in a lot of places. There's a reason why, for instance, in the Netherlands, there's only only the government is allowed to run a real casino with staff. Everywhere else, only slots. Because gambling is a form of preying on people. Yet, it is now becoming a staple in gaming. It's just bad practice. Anyway, that's loot boxes.
Fucked up. That's pretty fucked up.
Oh, and one other place, sorry. Before I move on. One other place does it as well. Apps. Phone apps. Where they disguise a game that's barely a game to begin with. And in order to get the best characters or the best weapons or the best whatever, you pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars to try to buy a box which potentially has the character or the weapon you need. And yeah, it's just gambling. It's just gambling in a different form. You're not getting anything out of it, and you're literally throwing away money.
Guys, be careful. Switch is in the chat.
I was just about to say, what does Switch play again?
Switch plays Unboxing Simulator. Dude, and he'll be the first person to tell you that it is straight up gambling.
It is gambling. There's no way around
It's
it.
straight up addictive.
It is, but that's the whole point of it. That's why they keep throwing it in, because it makes the company money. They're selling something they know they have no risk of giving out, because unlike an actual casino, they're not putting their own money up. They're putting up digital content that they made. It's not money. You can't win when you have it.
Not to be a buzzkill on this whole topic, but I'm gonna die on this hill. You will never see a loot box in Star Citizen.
Oh, for sure. But he asked the question.
Never gonna happen.
I asked what a loot box was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
I
was
just
not the
wanted to not
35-second
be
answer
confused.
that I was looking for.
Yeah, there is gonna be no loot box in Star Citizen.
So
They have a
anyways, to
million other ways
continue,
to-
there's other options, right?
Man,
But-
like picture-in-picture, just like upload a whole bunch of modern-day companies' billboard ads onto space billboards. You know? Like whatever. You can have ads in-game from real companies that will pay them real money.
A Coca-Cola ad. That would be nice.
But they don't need that. They have me. They just need to pay me.
They're already doing it with AMD, right? So, with the AMD Mustang.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Intel is a big sponsor of theirs as well, so they could do it with Intel. Which just kind of seems like a weird conflict of interest, because you have Intel processors and hard drives, or, yeah, SSDs, and then AMD video cards.
In-game, non-intrusive advertising would be fine, in my opinion.
They're going to advertise Time Warner Cable.
Hey, to be honest, you know how how in most games, or even in like stuff like Blade Runner, which I recently went to see, and it's a decent movie, they have like these advertisements that show up that are supposed to be like in-lore advertisements. Fuck it. Why does it have to be in lore? Just make it actual real advertisement that I can actually do something with when I'm done playing my game.
Now, don't you think that they're like, I guess that's a given. I was going to ask a rhetorical question, I suppose, to a certain extent, that there's going to be people that get all butt hurt and freak the hell out because of the whole capitalistic aspect of advertising real life items in a video game that's supposed to take you out of reality? Yes.
Sure.
The answer's yes.
Sure, yeah.
But it doesn't matter what you do because you're always going to get someone to complain about something somewhere. So
You got to pay somehow. So it's like, at the end of the day, no matter what model, payment model you are or aren't a fan of, for instance, you could be happy with a subscription model. Or if you don't want to pay a subscription model, you could be happy with a premium cosmetics model. Or perhaps even just a straight-up premium shop because, those are always good. Whatever model it's going to be, there's going to be people that love it and hate it. And most of the time, everyone dislikes it. But you accept that there might be a worse alternative. At the end of the day, we always pay. Just hope that it's more transparent than it is not. Loot boxes, for instance, no transparency.
I'm not super worried about immersion-breaking means of gathering.
no,
more
but
money.
what I am super worried about is contiguous funding through the next, decade plus or minus.
Sure.
After the game develops, and I don't have a problem with voluntary subscriptions. I think they could continue the model that they have now with voluntary subscriptions, give you a little hanger flary thing, and change it from rec to UEC, because they said they were going to sell UEC anyway at a certain level, so give you a little bit of that, and then give people who don't choose to subscribe the option to buy the items that the subscribers are getting automatically, which is pretty much what they do now. But I don't know if that's enough money. But you were saying, Cord, that coupled with package sales, and we were talking about...
Well, what we were talking about was Squadron 42 and Star Citizen. So the reason why I called it two differently is because they are two different things. Mm-hmm. Now, as someone pointed out to me earlier, because they're two different things, the funding for Squadron 42 will go to Squadron 42 Part 2, or Episode 2, rather than Star Citizen. But my argument is, because Star Citizen and Squadron 42 are basically running the same engine, the same assets, and everything from the same networking, because they probably will use the same networking just to a smaller degree, I'd say that by having Squadron 42 as the single-player component, something for which you can charge top dollar for, and every episode that you decide to release afterwards, because after a while you stop having to create a fully ground-up engine, and you're just pumping out content while creating new assets, right? So that process is going to become easier. But you can charge, like if you say they get to a point where they are able to bring out a new episode every 3 to 4 months, right? Or maybe even 6 months. They get to a point where if everyone who liked Squadron 42 buys Part 2, they'll still bring in $60 a head, or $50 a head, whatever they feel like charging. But if they use that to supplement the costs for what Star Citizen should be able to run, because that's the thing that keeps people tied over for the months that they can't play Squadron 42 Part 2, I think you've got a pretty decent model going. However, if on top of that they need more money, that's when all the other shit starts coming out, like selling cosmetic items, selling pets and lamps and other things that really don't matter. Like I said, it would be nice if Squadron 42 could fund Star Citizen without us having to pay for a subscription model, but we'll see.
I think that might be their idea. Plus the little nickel and dime, like I said, voluntary subscriptions, which I do think will continue to be a thing after the game goes live. You'll be able to just say, yeah, I want X UEC and X hanger flare, whatever it is, and I'll just pay you ahead of time.
Well, there's another aspect to consider as well. Like, for instance, 2 years into the game, no one's going to buy an Aurora still. Because even the starter ships are going to be obsolete, hopefully, right? Because more ships come out, the technology increases, and the starter ships might start to become obsolete. So you move the goals on what a starter ship is, and everything older than that slowly becomes legacy, and you move on and you move away from it. That can also have an impact on it because you can now start selling new packages or bigger packages, not because you want to sell constellations at launch or constellations after launch, but because you're introducing new ships that are at the starter level or just over, you can actually, put those packages out there as well. Yeah, that could work.
I'm just gonna throw this out there.
Mm-hmm.
The CIG has been talking a bunch about base building lately.
Mm-hmm.
And what goes inside bases?
Lamps.
Yeah, all that crap. Furniture, workbenches, whatever.
Well, it's not like most...
NPCs that need to operate and craft all your crap. There's so many accessories that are going to be in this game that they can probably sell a ton of that stuff.
Right,
It
but
really
the
doesn't make
concern,
it's not a
I
huge
guess,
gameplay implication, right?
This is space Minecraft now?
But just for the record, the concern is that I guess, or at least partially that I have, it's not a huge concern, but it is a concern. If they spend 5 to 10% of their time coming up with cosmetic items and cosmetic things to put into the game specifically so that they can make more money to sell, I'm more opposed to that than them creating assets for a new Squadron 42 that they then sell, which are reused in Star Citizen, because then you get the best of both worlds and you don't have an entire department worrying about whether or not you need that particular lamp.
I agree. I mean, we all only paid for one episode of Squadron 42, so, I mean, we're gonna all pay again for the next episode and the one after that and the one after that, and it shouldn't be too difficult to just list the price. Like, I mean, not that they're gonna do it. I wonder if they would do another crowdfunding campaign. I'm assuming that they would.
Well, they can. That was another argument that I brought up, is that if they ever reach the point where they want to take it to the next level, like they want to do a whole new Squadron 42, or even go the other route this time, because Squadron 42 is the military route, but they now want to do a smuggling route or whatever, they could always opt to crowdfund that and, see how far they get. Crowdfunding is also a great way to see how many people are actually interested in purchasing or acquiring that product. If no one's interested, they won't go ahead with it. Whereas if they develop it and no one buys it, that's worse.
Well, everyone should just remember that pay-to-win is already a thing. You can buy tons of packages and collect a ton of UEC and buy a bunch of ships that'll be worth a ton of in-game money already. And when you get rid of those things, you're going to keep your pocket. So, if you have millions of dollars and you have cash to blow, you can do that. And everyone who doesn't is at a disadvantage. So,
you're right.
Everyone needs to just suck it up right now, right? And it's never, ever, ever going to be that bad. Until the day that they don't sell a single thing that is worth money.
Until the only thing they sell is the account.
Sell those cosmetics. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it will just eventually come down to that, right? But essentially, what they need to do is, if they want to make it work like that, it doesn't even matter, because there's always going to be people who are selling money online.
Someone will eventually farm a constellation, decide, hey, I'm done with this game, and sell it. Or farm a constellation, sell it, and go, hey, that was a good amount of money. Let me farm another one and sell that too. There's no way to stop that.
Yeah,
they have to sell UEC.
You foresee that whole eBay?
Oh, it'll happen. Dude, it's already happened. Like, the thing that that was actually really huge, and it's still there now, right? All the eBay or the Reddit star hangers and all that stuff, it's still there now. But there was a hole in the market, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. There's a couple of people who made, probably for them, quite a lot of money off of it. Basically because as long as you had the ships that everyone else wanted, you could resell them. And not for nothing, but I sold some of my ships because of the amounts people were willing to pay for them. And I used that money, turned around, and put it back in Star Citizen. So at the end of the day, for me, I'm happy. But I assume that there were also people that saw the opportunity, like, hey, I got this game and I got these ships, but what can I do to maximize my own profit, not giving a shit about the game and taking money away from CIG? At the end of the day, the money still goes to CIG because they're being paid for, but those new if it's new customers, they're not creating new revenue. They're just selling stuff that SIG has already sold. And that's a little ridiculous.
Well, yeah, I'm like Trey wrote in the chat there, $3,000 for a site. What did it cost when it first came out? I think it was $200.
$300.
Was it 300? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's crazy. It's wild.
I had to. Let's leave it at that. But
Yeah,
UEC, okay, so on the topic, because I tried to avoid it a tiny bit, UEC is already being sold for 1,000 UEC per dollar, which is really odd because they've already stated that if you buy a Constellation, its roundabout in-game value is going to be around 950k to 100 million UEC for a ship that only costs about $325 or $300. So if you were to buy $100 in UEC, you're buying 100k. Whereas if you were to buy a Constellation, you would technically be buying $1 million in UEC. Problem is, you don't know what it's really going to sell for to anyone in game, but that is the estimated value that CIG gave it when they were selling those ships. They, I believe the way they put it is the dollar or the UEC value of a ship is 3.2 times as much as the dollar value that you're paying for the ship now. Which is also why some people bought a whole bunch of Constellations and Carracks just to sell off when the game comes out.
Yeah, that was a discussion I had with Trade Mogul a couple weeks ago, that is a thing, or that could potentially be a thing. You could become an instant multi-hundred billion trillionaire just by buying a bunch of ships in the $100 to $200 range and immediately in-game selling them off so you can equip your javelin or whatever.
And that's exactly where Ostia's point comes in about it right now still being, no matter how you slice it or cut it, right now it's pay to win. The problem is, if you define UEC, the amount of UEC you have as winning the game, then it's pay to win. There's just no way around it.
Well, and that's always been the debate anyway from the beginning of the pay to win discussion with as it relates to Star Citizen, is what in Star Citizen do you personally classify as winning? Because technically in a sandbox exploration type game, there's no such thing as winning. It should just continue on forever, theoretically.
Well, if we equate that to real life, technically it should go on forever as well. And if we're using stuff that we talked about in a different conversation recently, if you are one of those people that buys 100 Constellations now, sells them at launch, and starts with 500 million, I'm just pulling shit out of a hat here, I'm not actually using real numbers. Say you start with 500 million UEC, and you equip a couple of players with a couple of Hull E's and start hogging trade routes to turn that 500 million into 100 billion in 3 weeks. I would say the only thing that at that point you're still doing is getting richer. You're not doing anything else. It's all you're doing at that point. The problem is you are taking that opportunity away from other people. So the rich get richer and the poor stay poor.
Well, the difference between real life and video games is that you can kill the rich very
True.
easily because they are shit at the
Yes.
game. So you can be as rich as you want, but you'll
Right,
literally never leave that station.
Trade Mogul's point there. I think
Yeah.
that was his point.
So that's the thing. Whatever. Let them manipulate the market and let it be someone else's problem. Like, don't worry too much about it. But in terms of breaking the game, the CIG has already screwed themselves over and made it basically impossible for them to do that without tremendous backlash, right? They're building this game. They involve us every week with multiple videos. The minute that something is perceived as like way too far, it's going to get called out immediately. So CIG really is kind of stuck in terms of... They're not stuck. Why would they want to break their own game, first of all, right? So
Well,
if
this
they
is
make
how
a
they
misstep, we'll be there to yell at them.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, that The day I have a small junk shop selling parts, I pull off at dead ships with my reclaimer, and I have cool interactions with people coming into my shop and crap all level in the game. See, and it's different for
Personal
everybody.
goals.
Yep.
Personal goals. This is why I always equated Star Citizen a lot more to a game like DayZ than to a lot of other things. Even though there are more persistent things in Star Citizen than there are in DayZ. If you die, you die. It's over. You start. You have nothing, right? But that game technically has no goal. You can run around the beach what you want, helping people, or you can kill people, or you can do whatever the fuck you want. You can acquire whatever loot you want. And sometimes someone else completes their goal of killing you. It's a game that has no goal, and I believe Star Citizen is going to be like that as well. It's going to be personal goals, it's going to be org goals, and it's going to be player-driven win conditions, I guess.
Well, that's funny you tie it in like that to what Switch said, because Switch says, how does Imperium kill the rich if Imperium is the rich? And speaking of goals, and personal goals, and org goals, I would assume that one of Imperium's goals is to be a wealthy organization.
Well, and that's the thing, right? If it turns out, and I'm not saying it's not going to be that, but if it turns out that UEC is the thing that makes all the other mechanics work a lot better, and it very likely is, because money makes the world go round, then yes, one of Imperium's goals will be to make sure that it has enough capital to pursue the goals, the other goals, the non-UEC goals, that it wishes to finance. If that's the case, and it's likely going
the
to be
difference between the two scenarios is that the one scenario was a single person or a single entity, right? Like, that's what we're talking
personal,
about.
yeah.
To buy ships, like unless Imperium starts to gather like members' funds and start buying ships, that's not what we were talking about. So it's two different things. One person alone is very unprotected and weak, essentially. They can have a lot of money. They can probably manipulate a market from whatever tiny part of space that they're stuck in, but if they, if someone starts putting bounties on their heads and want to steal from them, that will happen. It's going to happen. In terms of organizations that are rich, large organizations are going to be rich, period. Because they just will. Every single one of them will have a taxation system. The only thing that's going to bring them down is going to be war efforts, almost completely the opposite of the real world, right? But
actually, you'll find that when it comes to country budgets, still 60% is going to the military, right? So that's still the thing that depletes a country's budget. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Sure. Generally speaking, war is good for the economy, though.
I'm not saying no, but it becomes a perpetual cycle. You can't get out of it.
Sure, of course. So, yeah, anyway, the point is large orgs will be rich, no matter what. The difference between a person and orgs that have thousands of people is that large orgs are not weak in comparison. And so if you want to take the money from the rich, then you'd better be prepared to come and take it, because we're not going to give it up, and we'll be prepared to defend ourselves. So that's more complicated. If you want to take it, sure, but you're going to be fighting a couple of thousand people.
That's for Rimmer.
NVIDIA 101. Will Imperium have a war with Test? No. Unless they make us have a war with them, I suppose.
The question is actually, will Test have a war with Imperium?
That's really the question.
That's really the question. So based on the previous few comments and shit, the question would be, we're hoping for CIG to allow organizations to own property?
Well, some sort of persistence, yes.
So like, i.e.
station, planet-side base, large capital ship that does not, just...
You know how they called the Bengal a persistent ship because, it's persistent in the universe, it can't land anywhere, it can't hide anywhere, and if it's dead, it's dead. Stuff like that. That's what we're looking for in Imperium as an organization. We're looking either for, and starting from the top, our own piece of space, a giant fucking star base, a planet, a persistent capital fleet, and if there's nothing else left, just a hangar on a planet somewhere. But I don't think we'll ever be reduced to that.
I had something else I was going to ask, but I had an old man moment, and it just fleeted right away. Like a fucking butterfly. Damn it.
Vaping rots your brain to death.
It's not the vaping.
Literally worse than TV.
I thought it was something in chat that triggered my freaking secondary question, but I don't see it right now.
As for the topic of wars, I believe right now we have a decent relationship with Test, so.
I would hope so. I mean, we haven't fucking exactly done anything to warrant there being negative shit, right?
Well, again, I believe we currently have a decent relationship with Test.
The top 10 largest employers all pretty much aren't going out of their way to give themselves trouble on day one. So
it's gonna be a race anyway, and when it comes to the game actually launching, we're looking at a space race for organizations to start carving out pieces of the galaxy and doing stuff with it, right? And whether or not we actually have the capabilities of doing that, it's still going to be a matter of who is going to be innovative and smart enough to do the most with what's available. Once that is out of the way, you're going to see where the lines are going to get drawn. And from that moment on, you can ask that question again, and we'll have an answer.
Well, generally speaking, wars are usually about
resources and mechanics.
Resources, I guess, areas of land, whatever, are generally based around resources and capital. If
Test is on the other side of the galaxy and they're basically not in a point for us to do anything with, then the answer will always be no, because it's not worth it for us to do anything with it. So to ask whether or not we're going to have a war with an organization, the answer is really difficult right now, because right now we don't have any conflicts, and neither do they with us, as much as they would sometimes like to say. But Test and all the other organizations, we're not currently looking to pick fights with each other. We're just waiting for the game. And
what's interesting to me about that is the question comes up often, test. Is it just because of their sheer volume?
It's name recognition.
It's name recognition, the number of players. Explorer's a big organization. The corporation's a big organization.
Right, but Test existed before Star Citizen.
This is true.
And so did a lot of other organizations, by the way.
Well, the Goons, but the Goons got themselves pretty much banned.
They'll be back.
Which is embarrassing, but they'll be back. They'll be back.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be back. So
Test does have good marketing. I mean, especially when you're a Twitch user, you'll know that Test has a lot of Twitch streams going up, and it's just one of the reasons why Test is doing really well when it comes to name and brand recognition. But like I said, as for our relationship with them right now, everything seems amicable, and there is no reason to ask whether or not we're going to have a war with them, because there are no resources between us.
Now then, to follow up on that same line of thought, isn't it going to be beneficial for all organizations to fight?
No.
I think
No?
only if it's economical for the orgs to fight.
Yeah, but what about all these guys that are like, I don't want to drop names, but I'm going to drop names. Like AOTW.
okay,
they want to fight. That's all they want to do. They just want to fight. They don't give
Right.
a fuck.
But
Apparently,
we're talking,
anyways, from our conversation.
Right, okay. So, but if we're talking in terms of scale, and I love AOTW as an organization. We have really good relationships with them when it comes to playing Star Marine and stuff like that. But talking in terms of scale, if AOTW were to have a war with Test, and Test were to 100% go all in on that war, I don't think AOTW would be doing much logging in, because with the amount of numbers behind Test, you'd just be getting zerged. We're talking about thousands versus a dozen. Well, 30
Yeah,
to
sure,
40.
but that's not my
To be
overall
fair, though.
point. It's just that org. I'm just talking about that mindset in the player base. And those players are in Imperium as well. There
Right,
are
but-
Imperium.
But they're the minority. They're not the majority. Now, and that's not to say that when we have a war, we're not going to be relying on all of our members to, pitch in and do their part. But there's more to pitching in than just hanging out outside of a gate and waiting for the enemy to show up, right? So there's more parts to that. But AOTW are the players, the hardcore players, we have them too, who want to fight. We have members in Imperium who want to do nothing but fight. There may be 30, there may be 100. I currently don't know. But we have those numbers too. It's just that if you take those 30 people from Imperium and put them in their own org, you basically have AOTW.
Sure.
But AOTW by themselves doesn't have the resources or a capital to have a grand scale war with an organization or entity such as Test or any other large organization. That's, like I said, the people who want perpetual war are always going to be in the minority. However, there are positive things to building a war economy and making sure that Imperium is always in one at any given time. But, again, we're talking about macroeconomical policies that we can't judge right now because we don't know what the resources are and our location in space isn't decided yet. So it's...
Maybe Chris Roberts is going to fill the universe with an infinite abundance of resources, and there will be unlimited space to make our homes.
Fucking
and it will just
utopia.
be a utopia. So there will be no reason for war. It will
Literally,
just be peace and
it'll be
happiness.
like
And
we
then
walk up to a console.
fireworks.
We walk up to a console. We spawn whatever ship we want, and we go fucking crazy. That's everyone's account. Isn't that Minecraft?
Only if I can base build too.
And that's good clarification there from Ostia. We're not using Test as an example because we have an issue with Test. We're using Test as an example because it is the largest organization with the greatest name recognition. So when you say, what if Test this, what if Test that, it applies to every organization, but what we're talking about, really large organizations.
Yeah,
in general.
The original
Disclaimer.
question. Yeah, the original question started with someone if we were going to have a war with Test, and that's why the word Test was thrown around. But if they had asked ADI or any other org, we'd use that one. But at the end of the day, we're talking large organizations in general. As of now, we have no beef with any large organization.
Someone else in the chat made a really good point. Shiro said, how can we have war with anyone if we can only fit 20 people on a server? Bingo. You are a smart one.
Yes.
We cannot. So yeah, if Chris Roberts gets what he wants, then it'll be exciting. That's what we want. If he doesn't end up with what he dreamed of, then basically Star Citizen is a piece of garbage. When
Right.
it should
Yeah.
all back out now.
Yeah, and to go in on that point, look, it's possible that the battlefields are going to be fractured or splintered or whatever the fuck the original term was for shards. But at the end of the day, if you bring 1,000 people to the same piece of space where the 30 people are, eventually those 30 people are going to die, but they might live through a few instances depending on how good they are. But
Yeah, they will live a very...
Yeah.
honestly, 30 to 1,000, I would say if you take 30 pilots between from the old Renegade, from Angel of the Warp, from 11th, and you put them
Just say the
against
best.
1,000 random people.
well, random.
They're like Jedi.
1,000 random people.
against
Fine,
fucking
1,000
bots.
regular Imperium members. Okay, I'll just throw that out there because you know what? We need to be better trained ourselves. If you took 1,000 people from Imperium and had them go into an arena commander match with 30 people from the top 3 flight combat orgs, I bet you we would lose if they did it in waves. Obviously, probably not all at once.
No,
I
but
would
their
just-
ships would get damaged every fight onward, right? There is a persistence there. It's not like they're and they don't respawn either. So let's say you have a 30 to 30 fight every time and they keep losing a ship. Sure, they could last 30 instances, but it's also possible that they'd lose after 3 because they run out of fuel, rockets, and ammo, right? That's another part in the equation.
We would win because missile spam and ramming. Done.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. The point is like the point Ostia made is correct, and that's why I said 1,000 to a 30 elite. You'll win, but it'll cost you, right? The thing is, a larger economy like Imperium will be fine with incurring such losses, whereas a 30-man or org, those 30 ships might not be as easily replaced. And even if we are talking about insurance where you get the ship back for free or you get money to buy the ship back for free,
It'll take time.
it'll take time. And we just have another 800 members at that point, right?
Yeah.
In ships.
Yeah, hopefully the dynamic server instancing thing that they were talking about with their server meshes and stuff like that actually comes through. It functions perfectly fine in Dual Universe. I know it's a completely different idea of gameplay, but I have seen their beta and all of their tech demos, so the technology is sound, the idea is sound, it's definitely doable. So I'm under the assumption that Star Citizen is going to be able to accomplish pretty much the same goal, considering they have over 400 employees and 5 studios working basically 24 hours a day, almost 7 days a week.
And original Crytek guys.
Right. So I think the idea that it's going to be a 10v10 instance like you think in World of Warcraft, where everything else disappears around you except for what's in your little square of space, is not the way that things are going to function going forward.
Well, it's going to be it's going to be that room system, right? So it is going to cordon it off a little bit, but you'll still see what's going on around you.
Exactly.
But you won't be able to interact with what's around you until you get closer to that.
Into that instance, yeah. So I linked in the chat the Dual Universe video where they go and describing all the different little boxes. Anyway, it's their version.
Thank you. It's great.
It's very good. And it explains it for simple people. Like
simple people.
I understand.
And,
yeah, exactly.
For the simple people.
Yeah.
No, we're just okay. Here's
those
us
of you
might
from
think
Detroit,
more of
you will
themselves than
understand
others,
what's
but
going on.
I mean, I would say we're all simple people here, and it might be worthwhile taking a look at that.
Well, that is exactly the way that CIG has been describing what it is that they're trying to accomplish, and being that another company, a smaller, considerably smaller company with less money has accomplished this, it's definitely achievable. So I think that the worries of, oh my God, it is never going to work isn't the case. It's just the case right at this point in time. That technology is not developed enough to put into a build like 3.0. So 3.0 is basically just a content drop with no network code to back it up.
No,
Well,
a place
it was
that
planned for
big.
3.0, but it
Yeah,
got
but it's
pushed to
not ready.
3.1. So
Because it's complicated.
yeah.
just everyone pray for 3.1. That's all I want. I don't care about 3.0. I do
No,
not
and
care.
it should be pointed out that my primary concern from the very beginning, from when this game started, was my first question was how you're going to represent those things on one screen and make it feel grand and full scale. And the only other game that comes to mind is Eve, but there's a thing about Eve that I absolutely can't stand, and that's time dilution. The fact that a battle between 3,000 people causes the servers to be slowed down to 1/1000th of a second, and the battle goes on for 3 hours when it really only took 4 minutes. That's the sort of shit that I just wasn't interested in. I mean, to their credit, it did work, right? The way that they designed that system, they could get 3,000 players on the same square meter and have them duke it out. It's great. But it's not what I hoped Star Citizen would become. I like the direction they've taken, but still, it's my primary concern, is that it still feels grand, large scale, and that those giant space battles that most of us are probably hoping we'll be able to get to see, if not participate in, is something that will feel right, as opposed to just moving from instance to instance, killing, 3 people and then moving on to the next one.
Have you not seen that Dual Universe demo, that tech demo core?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
No, I've seen it. It's just that it, like I said, I'm echoing my concern from way back in 2012
Right.
when, it was still in its infancy and they were still talking about splitting it into shards and all that. And I'm just saying it's still my primary concern that it feels and delivers on what I hope will be grand and big and awesome. But I also understand that I don't need to fight 1,000 players at the same time because that just doesn't make any sense. You try playing 60 players or even 40 players in a 40 on 40 multiplayer of like Battlefield, and you're going to die in a second because you'll have 39 people shooting at you and it's confusing and you don't know what's going on and it's chaotic. And whilst that is fun, it's not that fun for very long.
medics. That's gonna be me because I can't shoot for shit. Ask Trade Mogul.
Just flying around in that hospital shit.
There ain't gonna be no damn medic in space. You're gonna get vaped.
I mean, right now in Star Marine, everyone's a medic.
Well, that's true. You are
Well,
your
we'll
own
see how it
medic.
evolves. And that's the thing we were kind of getting back to in terms of all these mechanics just piling on and on and on and on. And it's hard to come up with some sort of, roadmap in terms of what we want to explain to people or train people.
In the academy, yeah.
Like, right now, the way it works is there is no medics. You get shot and you take 2 headshots or you take 1 headshot. And there is no limping away or you don't lose your arm or anything like that. You just die and it's over. And it's still like that in 3.0. And we'll see when they actually put all that rest in the game. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
The
But yeah.
problem is with the amount of mechanics and the amount of animations and the scope of what we're talking about in Imperium. My second biggest other concern is that smaller yet extremely vital mechanics will suffer under the ginormous weight of the more critical systems trying to be, getting worked out. And one of those things, for instance, is the way that in FPS there are still a lot of issues when it comes to clipping and when it comes to hit registration and a lot of other things that, an FPS game specifically would pay absolute super close attention to. Whereas for Star Marine, it still feels like, and again, no offense, but I've played other FPS games. It feels extremely unpolished. It's like, we have the engine, we can make the character move, we can slap a gun to it, we can make it jump, and we can make it shoot. But when it stands in this little spot, it's in 0G, and when it's in that spot, it's not in 0G. All that stuff makes it feel completely unpolished and unrefined. And one of my bigger concerns is just those small details that make or break your single-player experience, because the difference between walking on a ledge and moving forward versus walking on that exact same ledge 1 millimeter to the left and then floating off into space because it doesn't register that as ground anymore, can make or break your single-player experience.
Yeah. Uh-oh. That's a lot of words there, Teal. Here comes the theory crafting. What do we got?
No, he's just explaining dual universe or the room system.
Oh, well, Ostia's dropping Dianaldi's Star Marine rank and stats.
Well, he says he's pretty bad, but
It's got a 30%, 31% accuracy. That's actually not too bad.
well, I'm just ripping on Neon. Lakota's not too bad.
I don't even want to look at what I'm at now.
You're low.
You're low. You don't
You
even
dropped.
play anymore.
I know I dropped. I stopped playing because I started getting really upset. We don't talk about it. I blame Kitten Nova for the record.
Well, that's a part of the downfall of the way that Star Marine works at this point is there's no real matchmaking or grouping or anything. So some of the better FPS games will match you by rank, and
The gorgeous guy.
he's probably going to go to the bathroom or something crazy. But I'm getting a message from my producer right now that says he's got to go. He wants to go. He's got to get the fuck out of here. He's tired of this shit.
Don't rat Gallatin out like that, man.
I know.
We should just leave while Core's gone, so he comes back in the
The
so
streets running with Blake
I'm right here.
shit.
I'm actually having mouse issues, so give me a minute.
I was like, joke's on us, he's got a toilet built into his chair.
So I think, like what Lakota was saying earlier about these monthly episodes of the Insider, which is basically just an insight into what the higher level leadership of Imperium sees as where Imperium's going, how the game's stacking up, blah blah blah, all that bullshit, you know. Just it might be a good idea to start a thread, and if you guys are interested, go and post some shit you would like to hear your fleet commanders give their opinions on. And that would probably be great.
We'll have Juntao put up a post.
I can't type.
As his baby, this is his baby. So
It's okay, I'll edit it for you. Don't
I think we should
Hey,
have the
that's
person who spoke the least in this Insider write up the post.
No, here's what'll happen, and this is what happens every time, is they go, Juntao, do this, and I do this, and he goes, it's pretty good, but I fixed it for you.
okay, so
Okay, so it's
okay, so
much easier
Juntao will
and
write
less
it, and Lakota
time-consuming.
will help him. And I
And
just want to
then
say,
you'll
before Core presses the button, as soon as I finish this, Core, just press the damn button. Next upcoming event, Imperium Game Day, we're gonna do some crazy ass giveaways with 3.0. I know we have at least around $500 in giveaways at the moment. That's at the moment. I expect that number to grow quite a bit. And so we want to do a whole bunch of fun stuff for the first 3.0 game day that we're having. So if it's not this coming month on the 28th, it'll be next month, and you can find the date at imperium.sc. So if you're not from Imperium, you're all welcome to come anyway. Doesn't matter. We allow guests, and you can all win those prizes. At least I believe you'll be able to win most of them. Some that are being donated, they want to go to the org. So, but there will definitely be a chance to win prizes for anyone who attends. Anyway, that's all I have to say.
All right, host, do you want to wrap this up?
Yeah, there's
Yes,
not
goodbye.
much to say. We are the fuck out of here. Somebody's got shit to do. I think he's got to poop, so it's probably time to go.
I'm fidgeting.
All
All
right,
that dark brown beer.
all right. I'm gonna end the stream, but I'm just gonna talk for another 10 seconds because once I end it, it's still gonna
Course
keep
sucks.
going. Yeah, pretty much. Everyone, have a good fucking night. See you.